I'm Sabrina Zainal, and this is Nightline. The top stories. Aerotrain contractors yet to give firm date on service resumption. And 4 company directors among 5 arrested over 104 million ringgit fraud case. Good morning. We begin with this story. The Prime Minister began a working visit to the United Kingdom on Wednesday at the invitation of his counterpart, Keir Starmer. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim's visit aims to strengthen bilateral relations and explore new initiatives in trade and investment. Anwar arrived in London at 6:50 a.m. Malaysian time. His working visit kicked off with a meeting with Starmer in Downing Street. The meeting involved efforts to strengthen bilateral relations, including the current situation in Palestine.
Thank you. It's been a great meeting. We had the opportunity to discuss fly initially, then with the team to enhance the relations to comprehensive strategic relationship between the two countries, covering all spheres, from, of course, the focus and the fundamentals of economics, but also defense and education, etc. We did also discuss the issue of hopefully just resolution with the Palestinian and Gaza issue, with the final attempt to achieve a two-state solution. But prior to that, an immediate ceasefire. We seem to be quite optimistic of securing a settlement as soon as possible. Other than that, my colleagues and ministers, their counterparts, will immediately set up teams to try and work together, particularly in the context not only of Malaysia but also ASEAN.
Trade and investment remain key pillars of Malaysia-UK relations, with the UK being Malaysia's 4th largest trading partner among European countries, with total trade amounting to 15.30 billion ringgit. Transport Minister Anthony Loke has expressed dissatisfaction with Malaysia Airports Holdings Berhad MAHB, citing inefficiencies and delays in addressing key issues such as the Aerotrain replacement project at Kuala Lumpur International Airport, KLIA. The Aerotrain system at KLIA has been suspended since March 2023, and Loke said that despite the Aerotrains being under MAHB's purview, he has been receiving daily complaints about them. At a media conference, Loke expressed frustration at being held accountable for the delay despite not being directly involved in the decision-making process.
I have to answer to the public, but the Aerotrain is not a decision made by me. It's not a decision by MOT. The entire contract of the Aerotrain is conducted by the MHB board and the management. But I have to be answerable on behalf of them. I am not happy about their decision.
Loke added that the Aerotrain system is still being tested by the contractors, despite MAHB previously stating that the project will be completed by January 31st. Last June, MAHB said the Aerotrain replacement project at KLIA is slated to be completed by January 31st, 2025, ahead of the project's original planned completion date. The Cabinet did not instruct the Attorney General's Chambers, AGC, to seek a gag order to bar the public from discussing Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak's bid to compel Putrajaya to execute an addendum order on his house arrest. Unity Government spokesman Fahmi Fadzil also said the matter was not brought up during Wednesday's Cabinet meeting.
Tak dibincangkan, ya, dan Kabinet tidak mengarahkan Jabatan Peguam Negara. We do not instruct the AGC.
Fahmi said this at a media conference in Putrajaya after the Cabinet meeting, chaired by Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof. Meanwhile, Senior Federal Counsel Shamsul Bul Hassan, when contacted, said briefly that they were still waiting for the next instruction. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Datuk Seri Azalina Uthman Said, on Tuesday said the gag order on the royal addendum was unnecessary. Previously, Shamsul was reported as saying that the government will file the application on January 20th. The Defense Ministry has refuted allegations regarding the dismissal of the Armed Forces Chief Senior Military Service leaders and reassignment of Armed Forces officers in connection with a 16 billion ringgit helicopter contract. Now, in a statement, the ministry said claims circulating on social media were baseless, and it confirmed that there was no connection between the purported changes in Malaysian Armed Forces leadership and the helicopter leasing process. The ministry expressed serious concern over the social media statements and reiterates that there is no correlation between the alleged dismissals or reassignments of Armed Forces chiefs and the reported helicopter contract. The ministry also said that it had lodged a police report and filed a complaint with the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission to address the spread of false information. Moving on, 4 company directors were among 5 arrested by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, in connection with a suspected fraud case totaling 104 million ringgit involving public investment funds. According to a source, the individuals, 4 men and 1 woman between the ages of 50 and 60, were detained at around 7 p.m. on Tuesday after appearing for questioning at the MACC headquarters.
The source stated that the MACC had received several complaints and information regarding criminal activities involving a licensed trust company under the Finance Ministry and Bank Negara Malaysia. The company is accused of using funds collected from investors for the personal benefit of those involved in the criminal activities, with the sum reportedly misappropriated and channeled to several private companies owned by proxies. All 5 individuals were remanded for 7 days until January 21st after Magistrate Irza Zulaika Rohanuddin approved the MACC's application at the Magistrates Court on Wednesday. Meanwhile, MACC Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azambaki confirmed the arrests, which were part of an operation dubbed OP Trust. The investigation is being conducted under Section 18 of the MACC Act. Azam added that the probe required MACC officers to possess significant expertise in order to monitor and trace the movement of funds. The investigation aims to help the government strengthen public trust in regulatory bodies that issue licenses to trust companies while creating a clean and secure platform for potential investors.
In Johor, a retired Royal Malaysian Navy commander faces 89 fraud charges related to procurement work at the Sultan Ismail Naval Base involving over 1.07 million ringgit. 43-year-old Haizat Ismail pleaded not guilty to the charges when they were read out before Sessions Court Judge Dato' Ahmad Kamal Arifin Ismail. According to the charges, the accused allegedly deceived the commanding officer of the naval base into believing that procurement work at the Armed Forces Family Housing had been completed. As a result, payments were approved for 10 companies, which prosecutors claim would not have been authorized without the deception. The alleged offences occurred while Haizat served as the Logistics and Materials Division Chief at the base in Tanjung Pengalih, Kota Tinggi between October and November 2023. The court granted bail at 39,000 ringgit and set April 15th for case management and submission of documents. An imam was charged in the Kangar Sessions Court with 7 counts of taking over 26,000 ringgit in bribes for registering Muslim marriages held in Thailand. The accused, 53-year-old Muhammad Isa Abdul Karim, pleaded not guilty to all charges. He is accused of accepting bribes on 7 occasions between December 5th, 2022 and October 24th, 2023 at a bank in Kuala Perlis. The payments, ranging from 3,000 ringgit to 4,700 ringgit, were allegedly received from various individuals as a reward for processing foreign marriage registrations through the Perlis Islamic Religious Affairs Department without following proper procedures, in violation of Section 7 of the Islamic Family Law Enactment. He was charged under the MACC Act. The court granted bail at 10,000 ringgit with 1 surety, with additional conditions of surrendering his passport and reporting to the Perlis MACC office once a month. Case management was set for February 28th.
Money Matters with Zahir Kelvin Ong Abdullah, Muhammad Ahmad Hamdan and Azaria Tagaya. Every Saturday at 5 p.m. only on TV3.
Malaysia's recent cashless and check-free campaign, called Cashless Boleh 4.0, has generated 138.82 million transactions throughout its one-year implementation. According to the Deputy Finance Minister, Lim Hui Ying, the transactions account for 86% of all 20 participating government agencies.
Dengan adanya sistem pembayaran cashless ini, kita dapat mengurangkan penggunaan wang tunai, mempercepatkan proses transaksi, meningkatkan accountability dan integriti serta menjamin pengukuhan keselamatan sistem kewangan.
Lim was speaking at the award presentation ceremony for the Cashless Boleh 4.0 campaign and the launch of Cashless Boleh 5.0 in Putrajaya. It was reported that for Cashless Boleh 5.0, government agencies' participation has increased to over 80 agencies this year. The initiative marks a significant leap towards strengthening the nation's cashless payment ecosystem. International firm Moody's Ratings projects Malaysia's economic growth to remain stable at 5% this year, driven by positive developments in the labour market. Now, in a statement, it said investment projects are anticipated to create job opportunities and boost household incomes. However, Moody's advises Malaysia to remain cautious of challenges that could impact its economic performance. While fiscal consolidation efforts have been undertaken, government debt remains high compared to regional counterparts. Additionally, changes in the political landscape and global trade dynamics, particularly U.S. trade policies, could also affect Malaysia's economy.
Money Matters kicks off 2025 with a brand new season and a sharp focus on the year ahead. What's driving growth, where the risks lie, and how businesses can seize opportunities. Global trends, market shifts, and strategies that matter. Muhammad Ahmad Hamdan speaks with economist Loong Chee Wei this Saturday at 5 p.m. on TV3 and stream on Tonton.
The United States government's potential restrictions on artificial intelligence, AI, chip exports would have minimal impact on the existing data center contracts of Malaysian contractors. In a note to clients, CIMB Securities Research said most of the clients of Malaysian construction companies are either multinational technology companies or global hyperscale operators. It noted that ongoing data center work orders are still progressing, although lingering uncertainties over the U.S. government's future stance on AI chip exports may temporarily cloud the outlook for data center-related builds. Similarly, CIMB said that the actual impact on the property sector is also currently fairly insignificant, as most of the data center-related ventures are still at the preparatory stage with minimal capital expenditure spent and are backed by multinational technology companies or hyperscalers. It was reported earlier this week that Joe Biden's administration plans to introduce new export restrictions on AI chips under a three-tiered system by country. Indonesia's central bank caught markets off guard on Wednesday after a surprise rate cut, appending expectations that it would keep policy settings on hold to help stabilize the rupiah, while also resuming its monetary easing aimed at propping up growth in Southeast Asia's largest economy, despite financial market volatility that has weakened the currency. Bank Indonesia cut its benchmark 7-day reverse repurchase rate by 25 basis points to 5.75%, snapping a 3-meeting run of standing pat in its first cut since September. The bank also trimmed its deposit facility rate and lending facility rate by 25 basis points each to 5% and 6.5% respectively, in a move aimed at increasing economic growth and controlling inflation. In a statement, its governor, Peri Warjio, said the decision aligns with the continued low inflation outlook for 2025 and 2026, which is expected to remain remain within the 2.5% target range, the rupiah's stability, and the need to support economic growth. Convincing win for Sunhuat and Siobhan. Actions from India Open after this breather.
Dah berapa bulan tertunggak ni, macam mana mak nak bayar?
Mak betul ke nak gadaikan cincin kahwin mak ni?
Ini yang tinggal lagi, Indra.
Kita usaha. Nak kita tolong.
Okey. Terima kasih semua. Kejap.
Nah, buat bekal.
Terima kasih, bang.
Sama. Pulang.
Hai.
Tahniah, anda layak ke peringkat seterusnya.
Setiap cabaran pasti ada kejayaan kalau kita terus usaha.
Saksikan perjalanan peserta-peserta ke episoda One in a Million setiap Ahad 9 malam di TV3.
Kekal cakna, kekal sihat. Hello Doktor merungkai pelbagai persoalan kesihatan anda.
Penyakit kronik, pemakanan, kesihatan mental, semuanya demi kesejahteraan anda.
Setiap minggu bersama tenaga pakar kesihatan terbaik Malaysia, segalanya terjawab dalam Hello Doktor setiap Ahad
5.30 petang di TV3
dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
We're back with sports. Badminton, the 2025 India Open. Now, national shuttlers Go Sunhuat, Siobhan Jemi Lai cruised into the mixed doubles second round by seeing off in Indonesia's Renov Rivaldi Lisa Ayu Kusumawati in straight sets on Wednesday.
The world number 4 Malaysians recorded a 21-17, 21-17 win in 36 minutes and will face Japan's Yuta Watanabe Maya Taguchi, who defeated another national pair of Wong Tian-si, Lim Chiu-sien, 21-17, 21-15. For the record, Sunhuat, 35, and Siobhan, 32, are the most senior pair among the current combinations to be ranked in the top 4. The husband and wife duo hope to win their first Super 750 crown in New Delhi. Meanwhile, men's doubles Ong Yu-sin, Teo Yi-yi's campaign at the India Open ended early after losing to China's second seed Liang Weikang Wang Cheng 12-21, 21-19, 15-21.
Turning to tennis, the 2025 Australian Open. Novak Djokovic dropped a set but regrouped to reach the third round on Wednesday, surpassing fellow great Roger Federer for the most Grand Slam singles matches played.
The 37-year-old faced stiff resistance from fearless Portuguese qualifier Jaime Faria before winning 6-1, 6-7, 6-3, 6-2 to set up a clash with Czech 26th seed Tomáš Machač. It was Djokovic's 430th slam contest to claim sole ownership of most singles matches played, men or women, in the Open era, ahead of Federer's 429 matches and Serena Williams with 423 matches. In another match, Carlos Alcaraz Garcia cruised into the third round after blasting past Yoshihito Nishioka of Japan 6-love, 6-1, 6-4 in just 1 hour and 21 minutes. The Spaniard, who has never won the title in Melbourne, will play Nuno Borges next. In the women's event, Germany's Laura Siegmund knocked out Paris Olympic champion and tournament 5th seed Zheng Qinwen of China 7-6, 6-3. The 36-year-old Siegmund will now try to advance past the third round at the Australian Open for the first time in her career.
On to football, the German Bundesliga. Holstein Kiel raced 3 goals in front at halftime and survived a late Borussia Dortmund comeback to seal a highly dramatic 4-2 win at home to boost their league survival bid.
The hosts started the match with intensity, with Shuto Machino scoring in the 27th minute for a 1-0 lead. Just 5 minutes later, Phil Harris doubled their advantage with a powerful header before Alexander Bernhardsson capped off the first half in style when he slotted home in stoppage time to make it 3-0. Dortmund emerged from the break with renewed determination as they pulled one back in the 71st minute through substitute Giovanni Reina. Jamie Gittens further reduced the deficit for Dortmund 6 minutes later, and Holstein Kiel's resolve was tested when Louis Holtby received a straight red card in the 86th minute for a rash challenge. Despite being a man down, the hosts managed to hold on, and Fiet Arp put the game to bed in the dying moments to seal the memorable 4-2 victory for Kiel. The victory marks Holstein Kiel's biggest win in the league so far in their first season in the top tier.
Yoon Suk-yeol arrested in relation to criminal insurrection investigation. The details when Nightline returns.
Ada inisiatif mendalamkan dan melebarkan Sungai Kelang sepanjang 56 km.
Saya mula menubuhkan satu pasukan khususnya pemburuan ikan bandaraya.
Kehidupan di dalam sungai dah mula ada balik.
Majalah 3 Kapsul, Sabtu 10 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Dah berapa bulan tertunggak ni, macam mana mak nak bayar?
Mak betul ke nak gadaikan cincin kahwin mak ni?
Ini yang tinggal lagi, Indra.
Kita usaha. Nak kita tolong.
Okey. Terima kasih semua. Kejap.
Nah, buat bekal.
Terima kasih, bang.
Awal pulang.
Tahniah, anda layak ke peringkat seterusnya.
Setiap cabaran pasti ada kejayaan kalau kita terus usaha.
Saksikan perjalanan peserta-peserta ke episoda One in a Million setiap Ahad 9 malam di TV3.
On to the foreign front. Impeached South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol was arrested and questioned by authorities on Wednesday in relation to a criminal insurrection investigation. The president, however, said he was only cooperating with what he called an illegal probe to avoid violence.
During his detention, Yoon has refused to talk and has not agreed to have interviews with investigators recorded on video. Meanwhile, Yoon's lawyer stated that the arrest warrant is illegal because it was issued by a court in the wrong jurisdiction, and the team set up to investigate him lacked a legal mandate. His arrest, the first ever for an incumbent South Korean president, is the latest head-spinning development for one of Asia's most vibrant democracies, since lawmakers voted to impeach him and remove him from duty authorities after his short-lived December 3rd declaration of martial law, Yoon has been holed up at his hillside residence. He agreed to come in for questioning after more than 3,000 police officers determined to arrest him marched on his residence in the early hours of Wednesday.
In another development, winds that have fanned wildfires in the U.S. city of Los Angeles are again expected to kick up in the early hours of Wednesday after a 25th death from the huge week-long outbreak was confirmed. Forecasters have again identified an area of extreme fire danger, emphasizing the risk level in a region to the northwest of the city center. The anticipated increase in wind speeds threatens to further fan the remaining 4 blazes, which firefighters have made further progress in tackling during a few days of calmer conditions. There are hopes of another drop in wind speeds after Wednesday, but officials have highlighted the need for rain that would help fire crews in their battle. Meanwhile, the 25th death was confirmed by the LA County Medical Examiner's Office, with 13 other people remaining missing. Most of the victims have died in the Eaton fire, which has burned more than 14,000 acres to the city's north, but has now been 35% contained by firefighters. Over in Indonesia, a volcano located in the country's eastern island of Halmahera has once again erupted on Wednesday morning, spewing a 4-kilometer high ash cloud, forcing authorities to raise the alert level in surrounding areas to the highest. In a statement, the country's volcanology agency said Mount Ibu erupted at 7 a.m. local time for about 2 minutes, with clouds of thick gray ash billowing into the sky, leaning towards the west. There are about 13,000 residents living near the volcano. However, so far, there is no plan to evacuate the residents, but locals and tourists were advised to not have any activities within at least 5 kilometers from the crater. Ibu's activities follow a series of eruptions of different volcanoes in Indonesia, which sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire and has 127 active volcanoes. In the meantime, negotiators were near to hammering out the final details of a ceasefire in Gaza on Wednesday after marathon talks in Qatar, and the U.S. and Egyptian leaders promised to stay in close contact about a deal over the coming hours. Officials from mediators Qatar, Egypt and the U.S., as well as Israel and Hamas, said an agreement for a truce in the besieged enclave and release of hostages was closer than ever. This after more than 8 hours of talks in Doha had fueled optimism. Qatar's foreign ministry spokesperson earlier told a news conference that both sides were presented with a text and talks on the last details were underway. But a senior Hamas official said the Palestinian group had not delivered its response yet because it was still waiting for the Zionist regime to submit maps showing how its forces would withdraw from Gaza. Concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look as 18 Freeride World Tour's top athletes competing at the 5th edition of Freestyle Skiing's Ninda's Backcountry Invitational. With that, I'm Sabrina Zainal. Thank you for watching and stay safe.